Hello and welcome to another week of Sambo iRacing. We're back with another track guide. This time it's Circuit Zolder, the Grand Prix layout in the F4 on iRacing. It should be a really good week of racing here. I really enjoyed actually doing the testing for this. I think it's going to be very popular for those that have bought it. If you are new to my channel, we do a hot lap and then we do a breakdown. Then we're back in the cockpit a final time the driving line on, and let's start this thing. Alright, let's start the hot lap. So up to 5th gear, over on the right hand side, almost into the wall. Little brake, down to 4th gear, on the gas nice and early. We now go up to 5th gear here before turn 2. Little brake, trail it off on the gas again, nice and early, exiting nice and wide, back over to the right hand side, clipping this apex here, up to 5th gear. We're only going to dab the brake here through turn 4, back on the gas nice and early. He'll exit nice and wide onto the curbing. This is the all-important first chicane here. Going to drop it down to 3rd gear, back on the gas before the first apex, making sure you're clipping both of those. Back over to the left-hand side. And again, we're down to 3rd gear. Little dab. Back on the gas. Hold it. Very slippy exit around there. Up to 5th gear. We've got the little hairpin coming up now. So we're going to brake hard, drop it all the way down to 2nd gear, on the gas nice and early. And now we've got the final of the 3 chicanes. Down to 3rd gear. Back on the gas. Little lift, back on the gas again. And over and across the line in a 1:28.623. Really enjoyed running it around here. My first couple of laps were around 1:31, so I managed to shave off sort of 3 seconds. Right, let's do the breakdown lap. Okay, let's start the breakdown lap. So our first braking marker, it's just before this little bridgey advert thing that's right ahead of us. We're only going to brake up to about 50%. We're going to trail it off in 5th gear, dropping it down to 4th, and then building back up on the gas, cutting the corner nicely. We're back on 100% at the apex, holding it over to the left-hand side. You're still going to exit nice and wide here on the right, trying not to bottom out. And then basically, it's just as we get to the sand here on the left-hand side, I'm just going to dab the brakes up to about 40%. And again, a long trail off, dropping it down to 4th gear, and then getting back up to 100% nice and early ahead of the apex. He'll exit nice and wide, that's fine. Get it back over to the right-hand side, clipping this inside curve. Up to 5th gear. And then basically, where we've got this little road on the left-hand side here, we're just going to dab the brakes, only up to about 20%, 25%, and then immediately come back off. We're leaving it in 5th gear, and we're building back up on the gas. So as you can see, I'm back on 100% gas before the turn, or well ahead of the apex here. And just run that through. What I'm wanting to do is get my right-hand tyres as close as I can to the no-cut curbing on the right. Your legs it nice and wide. You can actually run into a little bit of sand here without it slowing you down or you getting an X, but I didn't on this lap. We go up into 6th gear. And our next braking marker is just before the red and white sort of markings on the right-hand side on this wall here. And I brake up to about 80%. I am running 54% brake bias. 56.5% brake bias. Sorry, I was thinking the Super Formula Lights. 56.5 it was here. So I'm dropping it down to 4th gear, dropping it down to 3rd gear. As I start making the turn, I'm trailing off and I'm looking to get back on the gas nice and early. So I'm back on 100% just after clipping that first curve. Running straight over the second one. Up to 5th gear, over to the left-hand side, and it's just before we get to this curbing here on the left-hand side. I'm running at, again, so I'm braking up to about 90%, getting all the speed wiped off in a straight line, trailing it off, dropping it down to 3rd gear as I look to make this first apex. A little blip of gas, and then I'm straight back off the gas, making sure I'm really cutting this turn. Now, so long as you keep your right-hand tyre on the red and white. Yeah, absolutely fine here. And then we're just trying to get back up to 100% as early as possible. Cutting the corner on the right here. Up through the gears. Clipping the inside. Exiting wide. Again, cutting the corner here. And basically, it's the 100-meter marker here on the left-hand side is going to be our braking marker. And again, I'm braking up to about 90%, dropping it down to fourth, third, and then eventually I'll get down to second. As you can see, I'm trailing it off as I look to get towards the apex and building back up in second gear. Can be a little bit slippy mid-corner. Exiting nice and wide, straightening up the turns here as we come into the final set of corners. And again, it's going to be just after the 100-meter marker. Oh, yeah, it's actually, sorry, that signage always feels like the 100-meter marker, but I suppose by the time my brain's on my left foot. So it's just before this sign here. We're going to brake. Again, final time, up to about 90%. And again, wiping it all off in a straight line, dropping it down to fourth and then third. And then we're trailing off. I'm looking to get back on the gas, a little blip of gas here, and then a little lift to get around this final corner. And then back on 100% and straighten her out towards the line. And that is the breakdown lap with the driving line version coming up. Any questions, let me know in the comments.